Today, we're going to be building a Google Maps scraper so you can extract things like company names, reviews, amount of reviews, phone numbers, websites, and Google Maps URLs, and also emails that you can add to your cold email campaigns, cold call campaigns, or whatever kind of sales process you have. Today, we're going to be building out this web scraper from scratch, all using AI. I'm not really going to code anything. Also, new set change. Hope you guys like it for now. We'll see how long it stays. But for this video, I have an entire new process of how to build web scrapers with AI using JavaScript instead of Python. So it'll make it a lot easier to run so you can get this working on your machine as well. But before we get into it, if you want to work with me on any kind of web scraping, AI, or automations project, make sure to book a free 15-minute call with me down in the description below, and we can talk about all your AI needs there. Anyway, let's just get on to building this web scraper. So I'm over on VS Code. If you haven't been following my channel, I'll be using VS Code to build out all of my web scraping projects. So if you don't have VS Code and you want to follow along, make sure to get it. I'll have a link down in the description below. So if you want to follow along using GitHub Copilot, I'll have a link down in the description for that as well. All you have to do is make sure you get an account and then add it to your extensions here. And also, we are going to be building this with JavaScript. So you're going to need to have Node.js installed. You can get the latest version of Node from the Node.js website here. This will just help us install all of our packages for how we're going to make this web scraper. Flippity-tastic. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna start off on chat here, and I'm gonna type in, we're gonna say, can you make me a simple playwright script to get the text from a web page, apple.com, tell me what I need. It's kind of a weird prompt, but what this will do is hopefully spit us out some code that we can use to get started with, and also tell us the stuff that we need to install, which would be fantastic. So it's going to tell us we need to install Playwright, which is what we're going to be using to build this web scraper. If you don't already have Playwright installed, we can just copy on the command it gave us here. Head up, make a new terminal. We'll pop in Playwright right here. You have to have Node installed in order to install Playwright. And then we also have this little script here it gave us, which is perfect. So you can see that after we install Playwright here, if we head on over to our folders, we have a new Node packet manager. You can see it has Playwright right there, which is perfect. This is exactly what we need. We're gonna make a new file and we're gonna name this main.js, and then I'll come back to our chat. I'll copy our code here. I'll come back into Explorer, and then I'll paste this in here. Control S to save. And now we have our really simple script already built out. What we can do is then type in node main.js, and what this will do is run our code for us. And after a couple seconds, you can see it prints all of the text on the apple.com store, which is perfect. See, we have things like the Vision Pro, iPhone 15, but now let's take this one step further. So what we're gonna be doing here is actually building this in two phases. So I'm on Google Maps here, just scrolled over to New York. So you make this as generic as possible. You'll notice that we have a search icon at the top here. So what I want to do is, if I were to type in something like pizza for this area, it'll bring up all these pizza places based on our location in here. And if we go to the left side here, you can see we have a bunch of different options we can choose from. I think in total, the maximum amount Google Maps will allow you to see here on the left side is 120. And if we scroll all the way to the bottom of the list here, you'll see it says you've reached the end of the list. And what we want to do is basically get all of the information from each of these pizza places in New York. And then in order to show all of the information for each of these pizza places, we need to actually open them up. And you can see if I were to click on one, it shows all the information for the restaurant. But the issue that we'll face with this is if we try to scrape it by clicking on all of these, it'll actually, you can see it's kind of lagging in between. We don't want that. So what we want to do is actually just, instead, if we were to share, copy this link and then open this in a new tab, it'll bring us to this kind of page here, which is a lot more standardized and a lot more easy to scrape, because then we can get all the URLs from this section and then open each of the URLs individually to get them like this and then scrape this page, right? So we're kind of using this as a way to figure out what kind of information we want, and then we'll build a separate script out to then get all this information for our scraper. And I've already kind of built one out, so I already know what I'm looking for. But if you're doing this from scratch, it'll take some kind of time to figure out the best way to go about this. But I've already done the hard work and kind of figured out that this is the best method here. So what we want to do is we're going to open up our chat window and then say we want to start with a search result here. That's kind of the goal, is we want to just type in a search result in a location, and then we can copy the URL, and then we can get all the information for our search result. So what we'll do is we'll copy the URL. I'll come back over to VS Code, and then if we just slap this in here, and then we give this another run, we kind of get some information here. We have Joe's Pizza, we have Little Italy, Angelo's. We have some information that we need. Perfect. But what we actually want to do instead, we want to scrape all of the hrefs inside these things. So if we inspect this page here, and maybe I'll kind of zoom in, we hover on over here, you'll notice that this has a link in here for opening this in its own new tab here, right? So this has its own link here in each of the boxes. So if we you can see how it's kind of uniform. In each of these, it has its own href or URL that we're going to need to scrape from each one. So we basically want our web scraper, before it extracts the entire page for all of the hrefs, to scroll to the bottom of this section here. Because what we can do is we can have it automatically scroll all the way down, and then after it's done scrolling all the way down, scrapes the entire page for these links and then puts them in a list. So it will look for, give me all of the hrefs that start with google.com/maps/place, and then put those in a list, right? And then we'll have a list of all the URLs that we need to open up and scrape through. And then we can just add all that information we get from each URL to the final CSV file, is what I'm thinking. And then we can even take this a step further. And because there's no emails on Google Maps, we can actually have it open up the website that it found, and then scrape the page that it found for any emails on there and add them to the list. So you can get really, really specific with this. This selector here, JST cache 2, 3, and 4, if I clicked on something, 4 would be this, are the 3 different elements of the page here. So we need to wait until this part of the page is loaded. So I'm gonna copy this selector here, because this is a very unique selector, JST cache 3. It's not found on anywhere else on the page. I'm gonna make a new window here. I'm gonna say edit the code to wait for this selector. Then hopefully what it will do is it'll use this function here. If we kind of go out a little bit, so we want to wait for this here. So we don't want to do anything until we get to this. So we can then just say console log pizza place is loaded. Look at that. Didn't even have to type that in. So if we run this again, we'll come back down. We'll type in main.js. Oh, once again, node main.js. It'll tell us pizza place is loaded. So it successfully found the JST cache 3 element on this web page here, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want. And so now from here, what we have to do is scroll on this section here. If we look at this section here, we need to find the element that allows us to scroll, which is going to be this element here. So this element here allows us to scroll because you can see, I can't point it out, but there's a little green line on the right side of the blue outline, which indicates there's a scroll bar there. So this box here is telling us that this is what we need to target when we scroll on the box. It even says scroll feed. So I think we can use this selector here in order to make our adjustments. So, okay, so then we'll come back in here. We'll say this element, can you scroll on this element, which is this one here, plus 500, which is just the amount that we're scrolling, until this text is shown on the page. So we want to go back down to the bottom here, and we want this to continue scrolling. Oh my God, did my Google Maps actually crash? You're actually kidding me. I don't think I've ever seen Google Maps crash. That is incredible. We're still recording, right? Okay. But you'll see at the bottom here, it says you've reached the end of the list. So we're waiting for this text to show. We'll put that in there. So then we'll say, and then console log that we're at the end of the list. And let's see what it gives us here. Let's give this a shot. So I'm gonna replace that there. Main.js. We're at the end of the list. which means that I don't know if that worked or not. So we'll just continue on and assume that did for now. I'll make a new window. I'll say, after we get to the end of this, I'm going to copy this link here and I'm going to get this part of the URL and then say, can you then after the console log scrape the entire page for URLs that start with this? And then put the first part of the link in there and then print how many you found. So hopefully what it will do is we can then, you've reached the end of the list and then it will tell us how many URLs we found. So if I do this, let's try this out. Node main.js. We're at the end of the list, found 6 URLs. So it didn't actually scroll on the page. Interesting. Let's try this instead. What I'm gonna do instead is I don't think it's actually scrolling on this. I think what we need to do is I'm actually going to change this up. I'm going to make it scroll on this part of the page or on this selector instead. So the way I had it set up before is scrolling on this feed. I'm gonna make it scroll on this X path here because it should be the same on all pages. Basically, we're gonna use X paths for this. And what X paths are just telling you where in the HTML the element is located at. So like if I were to come down here and paste it, you can see in the HTML, in the body, in the second div, and that second div's third div, and that third div's 8 div, and that 8 div's 9th div, and that 9th div's div, and that div's second div, and that's div first divs, div first divs, div first. It's a long indicator, but that basically tells us where it's located. We'll say, so can you make it scroll on this element until the body has the text on the page? Let's see if it changes things up. So it defines a selector, the search text we're looking for. Let's try this out actually. Let's just see what happens here. It looks like this part of the code works correctly. We'll change out this part of the code with the changes. So all that's really doing is we're inputting in the selector, the search text, and then hopefully it'll find everything for us. Node main.js. Okay. Fuck this. Let's try something else. This is not working at all. We're gonna use ChatGPT, see if that makes a difference, because I don't know why, but GitHub Copilot is being weird. Okay, so I have some new code here I generated from ChatGPT, putting in the same prompt. Let's just give this a shot and see what it comes up with. Okay, so there's a problem while parsing the XPath. I kind of expected that because it was the same thing that was made from the other one. Okay, so just change the way that this was set up. Let's add a scrolling console log. I don't like when it does nothing. Scrolled. Okay, look at that. So I don't know why, but I used ChatGPT, put in the same prompt, and now we're actually getting some results here. So it's scrolling for us. How much of it it's scrolling, I'm not too sure, but we will wait a little bit and figure this out. Oh, look at that. So I waited a little bit, reached the end of the list, found 120 URLs. I don't know why this took so long to get. I'm gonna cut out all the other nonsense, but basically I used ChatGPT. So it kind of does help to have both of them, I guess, at least in this scenario, because it figured out exactly what I want to do in 2 seconds. But because I got it done the first time so quickly, and now this time it just took forever. But there we go. So now we have found 120 URLs. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. That means it found 120 places in here, and that's all we really need from this code. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this over. I'm going to head back into here, and then I'm going to say, so I make the scrolling happen as fast as possible, and we'll just see if this works. So this should do exactly what I want it to do, but I want to get rid of this and just see how fast this works. Also has a console log scrolled, so let's check this out. Main.js. All right, there we go. And now if we change these elements to what it was before, okay, honestly, that's fine. What we can even do is this. We'll make a variable called scroll count plus plus, and then I'll just say scroll count equals 0, and then console scrolled, we need backticks in here. Scroll count, look at that. So finally learning how to code, but now every time it'll scroll, it'll tell us how many times it's scrolling. Holy shit, it is going. Okay, and now if I did this 100 times, oh mamma mia. I'll say add a stop and start timer to this. So scrolling by 100, taking a long time. Okay, so we'll start the timer here, calculate the time right before the very last step here. Okay, this is obviously taking way too long. So let's go try 10,000. Let's check this out, see if it works. Oh, end time equals new date. Also have to add that in there too. Took 9.48 seconds. That's not terrible. We'll say rewrite the code to make this as concise as possible. Okay, so now we have this. So 23 lines of code, node main.js. Let's see what we get here. See, I got start time error. I needed to log how long it took. Okay, so I'm gonna put the start time variable at the very beginning here. So now, okay, that's fine. Let's take out the scrolling one. Okay, so we'll just keep it at this. So after about an hour of tinkering, we have found 120 URLs. Scrolling took 9.768 seconds. From my testing, that's about what I've come up with. Say, can you put the found URLs into a CSV file? We're gonna use const fs to write URLs to a CSV file. And this will allow us to use these URLs in our code to then make a node main.js. Do this one more time. Look at that. So if I go here, URLs, I have 120 URLs. Perfect for extracting data. And if we click on one, it brings us right here, which is perfect. It has all the information we need. So now all we have to do is just iterate on this list here and then add that information to our CSV file, right? So we have our main.js. I'm gonna make a new file called main2.js. We're gonna take our URL here. I'm gonna take our first URL, come back here, say open this URL in Playwright and get all the text from the body. So hopefully what this will do again is similar to what we've been doing before. If we type in node main2.js, we'll run this code instead. So now we have our information that we need. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Or if we open this in Google here, we have another JST3 here that we're going to wait for. So I'm going to add the same selector we got from here into here. I'm then going to look for, so we're getting the company name, this, these links, and then this. So that's a total of 1, 2, 3, oh, and this, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So any URLs, any phone numbers, addresses, anything. Okay. So for this, these 4 are going to be the same. So we can use XPath for these because they're never going to change where they are at. So we can use this full XPath here. I'm just going to copy that over. If we head over here, so it's like, can you edit this when it goes to the page? It finds this selector, gets the text, and then puts it in a CSV file. I'm gonna say do this without CSV writer for now. I just want to store the names. I don't actually need it to do anything crazy. Yeah, that's all I really need. So if we try this again here, node main2.js, we get a error parsing that. I think that's just a way the code is set up. We can probably fix that with like the little XPath figurator there. Yeah. This little XPath here is what we need. Perfect. So now if we go back here, out.csv, we have the name. Beautiful. We want to scrape now this number here. So I'll copy this full XPath, come back over here. Say, can you also add something similar with this and make it the rating, which is the XPath for the rating. Now we have the name and the rating. So now if we paste that in there, we have 2 different selectors. And now we have the name and the rating, right? Look at that. We're on to something with this, guys. Let's keep going though. Let's keep going. And with this, so do the same for this and make it the number of reviews. Okay, so after a little chug here, we finally have this. So we have the rating, the reviews, and if we do it one more time here, we should get the number of reviews. And then we'll do the last one. So then we just need this right here. So then we'll say add this one, make it the category. So now we have this. And now if I did node main2.js, head over here, we get Joe's Pizza, 4.5, 1700 pizza restaurant. Fan-flippity-tastic. And if I went to pasties, right, and then put the same thing in here, sometimes the links are broken. That's just a Google thing for ya. We'll try this one. Other pizza spot, node main2.js. We get this information, right? So it's the exact same thing, but for a different restaurant, right? So now we just have to iterate through all of the URLs to get that information for that. Beautiful, beautiful. So what I also want to do real quick is get rid of these parentheses around 240. Because if we open this in Excel, it'll actually show it as a negative value. If you don't know, putting parentheses around a value turns it negative. Just kind of like a finance thing. But in this case, I just don't want them to begin with. So we're going to const let reviews. What just happened? We're gonna let reviews. So by using let, this is a temporary variable. And I want to say reviews, replace, let's just say this. Okay, can you make this remove the parentheses? So yeah, we want that. Node main2.js, if we run this again, there we go, 240, just with the regular number there, no parentheses, perfect. So now what we need to do is, last but not least, get our other 3 pieces of information here. So the address, if there's an open website, and a phone number. And what we're going to do is, so usually in Google Maps, this information here is always in the same spot, right? It's always going to be the same no matter what industry, no matter what business you're looking at, they're always going to be the same. But you'll notice if we click on a hotel here, the information for this stuff is actually down here. It's not right here. There's like this information here. Or if we go somewhere else, this information is right here. But if we go, here, once again, it's not. So what we need to do is get these by different selectors. And this took me a while to figure out, so I'm going to give you guys the helping hand. But basically, we're going to be using the tooltips as filters for finding this information, right? So if you'll notice, if we hover over this, it says copy address, this says open website, and this says copy phone number. So in order to get the address, we need to find this selector, and that selector is this. Button tooltip equals copy address. So we're going to make a new one. So say, can you add this selector and find this on the page, find the text inside it, and then add it to the CSV as address. So what that will hopefully do is do something very similar to the other one, but instead be the address. Right. So now we have this section here to add the address. Beautiful. So now if I said node main2.js, look at that. So now we have the address. So if I were to go for instance, put in something like this, right? Come into here. We'll use this one instead. What is this error? So it happens when something's undefined. If we were to, let's say, comment this out. Oh, you know what it is? This doesn't have a little section here. The address isn't the reason why it's not working. Well, add something here. We'll say if it can't find this, leave it blank. Because sometimes, I guess it's not going to show. Maybe this, but even then, this in theory should work. Boom! And it leaves it blank. You can tell by the nothing here. So now, if I go back to here and pick something else, like this, we can do the same thing again in here. Node main2.js. There we go. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. So now we're just gonna keep on doing the other two. I have this selector for the website, right? So the reason why I have this tooltip to open website or open menu link is because sometimes for stuff like this, it's open website, but for restaurants, it's open menu or open website, but we want it to do open website before it does the open menu link. But sometimes the menu links are business links. So if you're targeting restaurants, it might be useful to have that. So say a data tooltip equals open website equals open menu link. Can you do something similar with the selector and find the text in the tooltip, open website, and if nothing is found, use open menu link and record this as website in the CSV. Oh no, see, it doesn't. I'm gonna put the other code in there and say use this but make it work like this. So it didn't include address, which is bizarre, but we're just gonna skip that for now. So if we add that in there, we can then also add this onto the end of this. After this, we want this. After this, we want the website, right? So node main2.js, open website. No, we want the... So for this, make it grab the website URL inside the tooltip. Okay, so now it's grabbing the href inside of it. I should have saw that. So now it's grabbing the href. Whew, there we go, sick. And now if we try this again, but with a restaurant with 2 different links, we can then test to see which one it picks, the right one. Beautiful. And you can even go one step further with this and break the address down by street, city, state, zip code, but I'm not going to go that far in this video. We're just going to keep it as address. For the last one, what we can do is we'll just copy this over, but instead we'll say phone elements, and I have something similar here to this one, but it's with this. So we'll take this, take that, turn this into phone, and then add the phone variable on here, and then add the phone variable onto here. Look at that, it even knows. Let's just give this a whack. Oh, it got the phone number. Beautiful. Okay, so can you look at main.2, edit the address and phone to do the same where it puts nothing if it can't find anything. So this will do the same thing as the other ones where if it doesn't find anything, it doesn't put anything in there. But if I were to go here, I don't know, let's just go to like the middle of nowhere and then find like something that doesn't have a lot of information, doesn't have a phone number or a website, put this link in here. There we go. See, it adds the name, the reviews, the amount, the location, but it doesn't add the website or the phone number because it doesn't see any of them. So that's our code for scraping one URL here. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. All it is just going to this page, finding those elements, and then putting them inside a CSV file. So say I'm gonna paste the first script. I have this script. Can you take the URLs that are found from this script and feed each one through this script to get the information of each URL and then put it all on one CSV file with all the other URLs to get all the other information. And then I'll just paste in this one, and then I'll just say, so I'll say combine the two scripts to get all the information from each URL and put it into one CSV file. So hopefully this will do exactly what I said it to do. So it gives a very simplified version of the script, which I hate when it does this. Rewrite the entire thing with everything and copy the parts. Do not leave any placeholders. Oh, look at that. I even capped it out. So now we have our little combined script here. Let's just plug it in, see how it goes. Main3.js. I'll paste you in there. Node main3.js. All right, this took way too long. Let's try this one more time. I added a console log in here to hopefully let us know how fast it's going. Okay, yeah, it's going. It is going. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add some time to this. And we're just gonna see how fast this runs, because this does run, it just runs kind of slow. We'll speed it up in a second because I want to do two things. So I want to speed this up real quick, and then we're going to batch it. So when we batch it, we'll be able to do multiple of them at a time, because as of right now it has to open each one individually, but if we batch them we can actually do multiple at a time, which works a lot faster. So we'll just get a time on this. It'll take about, I don't know, a couple minutes or so. It honestly goes kind of fast. I think I was almost done on the last one. Okay, in the meantime, while this is doing its thing, let's take this, let's come on over to ChatGPT, and I'm gonna say, let's say batch this so it can run faster. Error timeout. Now that blows. How many lines was this? 108? That sucks. It does work for the most part, but what we're gonna do is try to speed this up a little bit. So I'm gonna put it in batches here. Okay, so we have some new logic here. I'm gonna make a main4.js, paste it in here. Let's give this one a shot instead. Batch 1 completed, batch 2 completed, batch 3 completed. Yeah, so you can see it's doing 5 chunks in a row. So this is going a lot faster than each individual one. And this will speed things up dramatically. So I think we'll get about like sub 1 minute extraction time, because for this there's a total of 24 batches. There's 120 URLs at 5 URLs a batch, just because you could change the batch size here if you want. I've found that 5 is a pretty good number. 5 divided by 120 is 24. There we go, minute 22. Beautiful. And there we go. We have our CSV file with everything. All I did was just add batch processing to the main 3 version. Really didn't change much. If we open this in Excel, we get our names, our ratings, our number of reviews, our categories, our address, phone number, or website. Oh, what? Oh no, this kind of blows. It added the website piece, which is good. And then kind of messed up the phone numbers. Okay, so it worked, but it split everything up. To fix this, I'm gonna take this and then say in the ChatGPT, I got this weird layout for my CSV file. But the address in one line also add the Google Maps to the CSV as well. Why is it green? I've never seen it be green before. Okay, so can you edit this so when adding addresses, they are treated as strings because they have commas in them, and also add the Google Maps URL and add that to the CSV data in a new column called URL. So it gave me some new stuff for address. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna add it in here. Oh, it looks like it also added the, if it doesn't show up, then put nothing in there, which is nice. And then also we want this here. So in the return, it also said to add in the URL and then also add the URL there. Let's try this again. So we want the URL r.url. So now that should work. So now we have it so that it uses the full address, doesn't split the commas, and then it also adds the URL into the thing. So let's try this one more time. Hopefully you guys are liking the video so far. This is going to be a long one, so if you made it to this part of the video, make sure to leave a like and a comment what you're liking about the video, if you're learning anything, and if you're going to implement this or do something similar yourself. I'd love to know what y'all are up to in the AI automation space. There's a lot of cool stuff coming, and I think this is just the tip of the iceberg right now. I do have a couple videos coming up that I think are going to be pretty exciting, and this one was just a project that I really wanted to do that I'm happy I could complete, and I'm going to put up on a couple different platforms for you guys. So be able to download this and run it yourself and also use it for free online. Oh no! So, okay, I had the CSV file open. Gosh darn it. Okay. All right, let's try this one more time. All right, sick. There we go. 117. Look at that. Name, rating, reviews, category. Ugh, it messed up the thing for the titles, but that's okay. We'll adjust them in a second. Address, website. Oh, that's interesting. So if it doesn't have, oh, that's what it is. So, okay, the reason why that's tricky is because the first one had 17,000 reviews. It also used that comma as another separator. So that makes sense. Because a lot of them were like ones and twos and shit. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? Okay, so now it's doing this. So now that I know that, what I'm going to do is just make these all let. Phone number equals phone number. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. Or this is what you use GitHub Copilot for doing stuff like this. Just type in R. So phone, website, address, category, reviews, rating, and the name. Okay, beautiful. So now we have all of that with all that. And if it's not, it's just nothing. Let's give this one last test. So Rooney. Yeah, so that was about 1:30, a little bit longer than before, but that was about right. But now, the last moment of truth. Here we go. The Google URLs, the phone numbers, all of the phone numbers too. Not a single one is gone. The website URL for all of them, the address, the category, the reviews, the ratings, and the name. And of course, they're negative because the parentheses was on the wrong one, but it's all here, guys. I'm gonna make that change, and we're gonna call this one good. And yeah, it'll be the same thing. I might have some tweaks and optimizations for it for you guys when you get the code. Yeah, we're gonna keep it like this for now. And now let's go on to the second part of the video, and that will be the emails. Let's start off with a new script. So we're gonna say, I'm gonna start off with ChatGPT on this one. I'm gonna say, so all I did was ask for it to make me a script in JS and Playwright that goes to this link. If there is any emails on the page, it prints them. So I have this website here, which is just like a landing page I made for Horizon, and it gave me this script here, which did work, but it gave me the same email twice, so I'm gonna ask it to remove any duplicates. But if I come here and do that, node website.js, there we go, it filters those. Sick. So now what I need this to do is, okay, so now we're gonna say, can you make this open up a CSV file called out.csv and look for the website column and then go through each row where data exists and find those URLs, open them up and scrape each page and print if you find any emails on those pages. So now what we're trying to get it to do, and I'll make a new file called website2.js, is we want this to then scrape the data from each of the pages and then we can add them to a new CSV file. Okay, so it tells me to use CSV parser, which is fine. I'll put that in there. Node website2.js. npmi CSV. So I have to install that. All right, so it is finding some emails here. Okay, so now we're doing this. Edit this so it finds the emails, adds them to a new row in the CSV file at the end of the scraped emails, make a new column for each additional email. And then we'll also have it filter out anything with @century, because those are just dead emails for sure. And anything with .png, we'll make like a little mini filtering section just in case you guys want to add more stuff to it as well. This looks pretty solid. So now we'll take this, go into here, node website2.js, and let's give this a shot, shall we? All right, so now it finally made this output with the emails. ChatGPT, there are no emails in my file here. Okay, so I don't know why, but we're having it dynamically add emails to the thing. This is gonna be weird, but so we'll do this, and then we'll have it filter out the emails from that we don't want. So if there's any kind of emails that we know we're not gonna need, we can always just add the set of text to the list, and it will delete them for us. Okay, let's see. What am I coming back to? This is gonna be a disaster. Oh, I see emails. I made ribs on Sunday night. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm really hesitant to eat food that's been in the fridge for more than like 2 or 3 days. It's been in the fridge for 3 days, but I think I might just eat it anyway. Small tangent. It smells pretty okay, I guess. It's just the meat doesn't look that great. Beautiful. Okay, so now the moment of truth. Beautiful. So now we have our email list. This is exactly what I was looking for. So if there is emails, they'll show up here. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. So now I want to do one last thing. I'm going to make it filter out any emails with this, as these are dead emails. So hopefully it gives us a little kind of filter menu that we can add on. All right, can I make a small array at the top to filter stuff? Okay, so now it's making the email filter for us. We'll do this then. So now we're only going to get legitimate emails. This isn't the greatest example because a lot of these emails aren't that great, but there's a couple of on here that are pretty good. If there's a high likelihood that your demographic has emails on their website, then it might not hurt, right? Okay, so now we have this little thing here. There we go. Make it look nice and pretty. So now if you want to add anything to the email filter, there it is. All right, I think it did an all right job. Jesus Christ, dude, moving around in Excel has to be the worst thing of all time. Okay, sick. So yeah, we have email 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it filtered out all the ones we don't need. And the same thing goes for this. I didn't put in Century WixPress, but that one also needs to go too. But yeah, we have all the regular emails right here. And they're all tacked on and ready to mail. And that'll work for all of the URLs that are found on here, right? So if you have 120 contacts, it'll go through each of them. And you can kind of edit this to make it as complete as you want. But yeah, I think I'll leave it here on the development side. I'm gonna add a little bit more stuff here to make it look a little bit nicer. That's really gonna be it. And then I'll do one last thing. Oh, create stream. We'll name this base URL, and I want to make base URL CSV containing info to be out.csv, and then what we want to filter out. I'm gonna do one last edit here. So now I just want this so that the thing at the very end is the base URL, whatever that may be for you, underscore emails. So it's the same thing, but with emails instead. And we should be good to go. So I'll do this real quick. So let's try this one last time, and we should get out underscore emails. There we go, out underscore emails.csv with all of the goods. See some of the emails right there. Let's go, finally. Jeez Louise, man. I think that's gonna do it. If you guys like to watch me put this Google Maps web scraper together from start to finish, getting everything from the URLs to all the company information, and then the emails from the websites on top of it, make sure to leave a fat like down below. Also, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. What did you think? What do you want to see next? I'm always looking for great new web scraping ideas or any kind of automation ideas for that matter. Also, if you want to work with me, make sure to book a free 15-minute call with me down in the description below. We can talk about AI, automations, all that stuff. And now I want you to go over and watch this video here where I build an Apollo web scraper just like the one in this video. If you made it this far in this video, you'll definitely like that video too. So I'll see you guys over there.